Hello, I'm WWE superstar Titus O'Neil, and today I'm coming to you as a neighbor. You owe it to yourself and those you love to get tested now. Get the care you need and protect your family. Hillsborough County is offering free coronavirus testing and no health insurance is needed. It costs you nothing to get tested. Visit hcflgov.net/stay safe for more information and have a reservation made today. Share this with a neighbor, and let's come together as a community and keep fighting to get through this. Together, we will come back stronger. God bless.
Hillsborough County, along with local and federal health experts, are encouraging residents to wear cloth face masks to cover their nose and mouth when in public to help stop the spread of COVID-19. There are not enough surgical face masks for everyone, and available ones should go to healthcare workers and first responders. It's easy to make your own face mask out of common household items. The CDC and U.S. Surgeon General say you can use an old scarf, bandana, or make one using a t-shirt plus 2 rubber bands. Cut part of the t-shirt into a square, fold it from the bottom to the middle, then from the middle to the top. Repeat those steps one more time, then add a rubber band to each side. Bring each end to the middle, then secure around your face. They should fit snugly but comfortably. Cloth face coverings should not be placed on children younger than 2 years of age or people who have trouble breathing. The CDC emphasizes that while wearing a face mask, you should still practice social distancing, stay 6 feet apart from others, and continue other preventative measures such as frequent hand washing. We encourage you to visit hcflgov.net/stay safe for up-to-date information.
Flossing in the morning is a really great way to keep your teeth healthy and start the day. But when you're through, here's what you do. Throw it in the trash, don't flush it. There's a problem lots of people don't know, called sanitary sewer overflow. A condition buried deep in the ground, inside a pipe where bad clouds are found. It's a problem we can all help solve, so throw it in the trash, don't flush it. Baby wipes, bandages, cotton pads, paper towels, dental floss, clog up bad. Medicines, kitty litter, cotton swabs, hair. Throw them in the trash, don't flush it. It just takes a second to do the right thing, so toss it and let's keep our pipes clean. Throw it in the trash, don't flush it. If it's not toilet paper, don't flush it. Even if it says you can, don't flush it. If you're having any doubts, don't flush it. One more time, don't flush it.
This is a battle we've never faced in my lifetime. I want to tell you about 416 of the most amazing people. Every day I get to see their skill, professionalism, and dedication. Their commitment to protect and improve the health of everyone in Hillsborough County. The last 2 months, they've been on the front line of a battle with a very dangerous enemy, COVID-19. And they've risen to the challenge in the most amazing, heroic way. Everyone has contributed, sacrificing their personal life, which they put on hold. They're making a difference for everyone they help, and every day I get stopped and told just how amazing they are. I'm proud and blessed to work with them, my second family.
Is your local business or organization looking to give back to the community? Help keep our roads clean by joining the Adopt a Road program administered by Keep Tampa Bay Beautiful. Keeping our roads clean is a great way for team building as well as exposure for your business. Select the road your business wants to adopt and dispatch a team to remove litter and debris. Participants will receive 2 signs showing their organization's name as well as safety equipment and instructions for cleaning roads. You can help keep Tampa Bay beautiful by adopting your own road today. To learn more, visit hcflgov.net/cleanhc.
So let's say that Tim here was returning to his vehicle only to find it missing. He may think it was either stolen or towed. Let's not worry too much, Tim. Hillsborough County wants you to know the rules and regulations should you find yourself stuck in this unfortunate situation. Here are a few rules and tips you should know. Rule number 1, permission to tow. Towing services need permission to tow from private property and must post signs with telephone numbers saying that the trespassing vehicles will be removed. If your vehicle is missing, look for a sign and call the number. Rule number 2, communication. As soon as your vehicle is delivered to the local towing facility, towing services must notify local law enforcement within a 30-minute time frame, and they must return calls from vehicle owners within 1 hour. Helpful tip number 1. Law enforcement can help motorists determine if their vehicle has been towed. If you don't see a posted sign, call the authorities on the non-emergency line. Rule number 3, retrieving your vehicle during a tow. Most people are unaware that you could still retrieve your vehicle while connected to the tow truck. For a drop fee of no more than half the towing rate, the tow truck operator must release the vehicle to its owner. When it comes to payment, tow truck drivers must accept the following: debit, cash, cashier's check, or money order. Rule number 4, personal property. If the owner is unable to pay the drop fee and their vehicle is in the hands of the towing company, owners still have the right to retrieve personal property from their vehicle. Helpful tip number 2. Having a registration and title in your name will make it easier to recover your vehicle. Tow companies will not hand over the vehicle if you are not the registered owner, unless you have an original notarized affidavit signed by the registered vehicle owner. Remember, Hillsborough County is here to help you. For complete detailed information on towing rules and regulations, please visit us at hcflgov.net/consumer protection or give us a call at 813-635-8316.
Good morning. Welcome to this meeting of the HART Board of Directors on April 5th, 2021. The meeting format is hybrid with our quorum physically present at County Center, while some of the board members and others are participating virtually. We'll begin the meeting with a Pledge of Allegiance, so please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And will staff take the attendance, please?
Good morning, this is Danielle from HART. Director Castor?
Here.
Director Johnson?
Here.
Director Knight?
Here.
Director Myers?
Here.
Director Overman?
Here.
Director Schisler?
Here.
Chair Smith?
Here.
Director Williams? Here. Director Frazier? Director Hudson? Director Kemp?
Here.
Director McLean? Director Vieira.
Here.
You do have a quorum, Madam Chair.
Thank you. And that brings us to the approval of the minutes for the March 1st regular meeting and the March 12th virtual interactive.
So
training.
moved.
Second.
Second.
All right, we have a motion by Commissioner Kemp and a second by Director Williams. Let's take a roll call vote.
Director Castor?
Yes.
Director Johnson?
Yes.
Director Knight?
Yes.
Director Myers?
Yes.
Director Overman?
Yes.
Director Schisler?
Yes.
Chair Smith?
Yes.
Director Williams?
Yes.
Director Kemp?
Yes.
Director Vieira?
Yes.
The motion passes unanimously. Thank you.
Hey, Danielle, this is Rena.
Oh,
Can you hear me?
yes, I apologize, Director Frazier.
That was okay. I said present when you took the roll call, but I'm not sure if you heard me.
I did not. I apologize. I'll change the record. Thank you.
Thank you. And that brings us to public comment. Ms. Mandel, I think we do have at least written comment to be read into the record today. Ms. Arthur, do we have any other oral, verbal? No. Okay, so Ms. Mandel, is there anything that needs to be read into the record about public comment for?
Yes, I just have a brief statement to read into the record prior to the public comment. The board welcomes public comments about any issue and concerns and has made provisions to allow for virtual public comment. Public comment offered virtually will be afforded equal consideration as if it was offered in person. Anybody wanting to provide public comment for any HART committee or board shall contact Danielle Arthur, Board Administrator, at arthurd@gohart.org or at 813-955-2426 with your name, phone number for pre-registration. Comments are due 5 days prior to the meeting. We do not have anybody for live public comment, but there is a public comment that will be read into the record. Ms. Arthur, would you read the comment into the record? Thank you.
Yes, good morning. I have a comment that was sent via email as an attachment. It is a letter dated April 5th, 2021. Quote, "Not everything that is faced can be changed, but nothing can be changed until it is faced," end quote, James Baldwin. To Commissioner Mariella Smith, Chair of the HART Executive Board and the entire HART Executive Board. To Ms. Adelie LeGrand, HART Chief Executive Officer. Good morning, my name is Letitia Jones, President of ATU Local 1593. I am also a paratransit operator who has been employed at HART for 8 years. I have seen some good days and bad days. I never imagined the things I have seen in the workplace. The disparity of treatment, retaliation for reporting obscene behavior, and the lack of professionalism. I have seen how you wear a blue shirt to work, your voice doesn't matter. Your opinion doesn't matter, your safety is not a management priority. The working conditions at HART are paraphrased like a biblical lesson. The blue shirts are treated as like the Israelites, and HART's management is like Pharaoh. Working in a hostile environment is stressful and depressing. The attendance is ridiculous. Due to maladjustment of management, are forcing operators to work on their days off because scheduling creates a bid that wasn't humanly possible to do without forced overtime. Operators are coming to work fatigued and exhausted. I can say since January 1, 2021, we are seeing some changes. For years, you are right, Commissioner Kemp, we have been mistreated, disrespected, and looked over, but ATU 1593 says thank you for hiring Ms. LeGrand with her knowledge and tenacity. We will be okay for decades, Commissioner Kemp. As the board looks at the budget for ATU raises in retro, we, the 600-plus bus operators, paratransit operators, maintenance, streetcar, and customer service, want you to ask yourself 2 questions. 1, would you continue to work where you are not appreciated? 2, would you continue to work for an authority who has not given you a livable wage in 3.5 years? Board, we love what we do. We love being able to help someone better their lives. We work by the HART mission and vision plan with pride. Please approve our raises in retro. Thank you. Respectfully, Letitia Jones, ATU, Local 1593 President.
Thank you. And I know the board is always interested to hear public comment of our employees, our customers, and the union president comment is especially welcome and taken into consideration. I know that the board joins you in your optimism that things will be looking up with the new CEO, and we look forward to a brighter future altogether. That ends public comment and takes us to approval of the action items. Number 4A, the Operations and Safety Committee met March 15 and reviewed action item 4A and formed a consensus in support while requesting additional information for our review at this meeting. Mr. Dwayne M. Brown will give a presentation on the construction of a bus bay at State Road 60 and Strawberry Ridge Boulevard related to this item. Good morning, Mr. Brown. You're recognized.
Good morning, Madam Chair. Good morning, board members. This resolution is to authorize the Chief Executive Officer to award a contract for construction services to Flores Construction for construction of a bus bay with shelter pad and landing pad at State Road 60 and Strawberry Ridge Boulevard in the amount of $127,555 plus a contingency of $12,755.50 for a total not to exceed $140,310.50. Next slide, please, Danielle. This project is aimed to make ADA improvements at a HART bus stop on Route 46 in the eastern part of Hillsborough Transit System, as shown on the map. Next slide, please, Danielle. Currently, this bus stop location does not accommodate ADA persons boarding and alighting on a very busy State Road 60. Next slide, please, Danielle. This project was brought to our attention by the ADA committee when HART patrons living in Strawberry Ridge 55 and over community had trouble accessing the stop. Staff added this project to the Hillsborough County Impact Fee and Capital Improvement Program, and the project was approved by the Board of County Commissioners. The Zone 7 funds fully fund this project. Barring your questions, that's what I have, ma'am.
Thank you.
Move approval. This is Commissioner Kemp.
Second.
I've got a motion to approve from Commissioner Kemp, a second from Commissioner Overman, I think, and we'll take a vote.
Director Castor?
Yes.
Director Johnson?
Yes.
Director Knight?
Yes.
Director Myers?
Yes.
Director Overman?
Yes.
Director Schisler?
Yes.
Chair Smith?
Yes.
Director Williams?
Yes.
Director Frazier?
Yes.
Director Kemp?
Yes.
Director Vieira?
Yes.
The motion passes unanimously. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next item, 4B, the Finance and Audit Committee met on this one on March 15th and reviewed it, and along with item 4C, and formed a consensus in support of approval of both of these items, 4B and 4C. Starting with 4B, Lauren Strope with Cherry Beckart will give a presentation related to this item. Good morning, Ms. Strope.
Good morning. Thank you so much for having me here today. So my name is Lauren Strope, and I had the pleasure of serving as the director on the audit this year. Today, I just kind of wanted to give you a summary of what we discussed in the Audit and Finance Committee. I was able to meet with them on March 15th, and we kind of had an in-depth dive into the nature, the extent, and the timing of the audit procedures. We have completed and issued our audit, and everything is dated February 26th of 2021. We actually follow a variety of different standards when we complete this audit, from the generally accepted auditing standards to the government auditing standards, which is required because of the federal and state dollars that you receive. We also do a federal single audit, a state single audit, and ensure compliance with the Florida Auditor General, who does require a management letter and an investment report. I am very pleased to report that all of your opinions this year are unmodified opinions or no comment opinions. What that means is it's the highest level of assurance that we can provide as your external auditor. It's clean opinions, and it's really the only type of opinion that you would want. With that, I would like to remind everyone that we serve at the pleasure of the board year-round, not just when we're doing the audit, not just when I'm here talking to you. I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have over the results of the audit this year. But again, my contact information is in the presentation that was submitted for the Audit and Finance Committee, and I am happy to answer any and all questions you might have.
Thank you. And I see Councilman Schisler's hand is raised. Was there, Ms. Crescentini going to say anything before we get to board discussion, or? Okay. Councilman Schisler, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just wanted to say thank you to the finance staff, past and present, for the effort. A good, clean audit is good to have. It's what we strive for. I just want to thank you for the hard work and throughout the year to make this happen. It's not an easy task, and to move for adoption by the board.
Thank you. And was that
Second.
All right. Is that all the presentation we have? I see no further board discussion. We have a motion to approve by Councilman Schisler, second by Commissioner Kemp. Let's take a vote.
Director Castor,
Yes.
Director Johnson,
Yes.
Director Knight,
Yes.
Director Myers,
Yes.
Director Overman,
Yes.
Director Schisler,
Yes.
Chair Smith,
Yes.
Director Williams,
Yes.
Director Frazier,
Yes.
Director Kemp,
Yes.
Director Vieira.
Yes.
The motion passes unanimously. Thank you.
Thank you. And now, Ms. Crescentini will present action item 4C. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, Chair Smith and members of the board. Linda Crescentini, Interim Chief Financial Officer. And I'm here today to ask for the authorization for a sole source contract for InfoStrategies in the purpose of developing a comprehensive 20-year financial plan for the streetcar operations in a not-to-exceed amount of $113,600 for a period of performance of less than 6 months. This is the next step in the project development, which is the submission of a 20-year comprehensive financial plan that demonstrates to FTA HART's financial capacity to build, operate, and maintain the system. Any questions?
I see no questions or comments from the board members.
Move approval, Commissioner Kemp.
Second.
I have a motion to approve, Commissioner Kemp, and a second by,
Mr. Hudson.
thank you.
Director
No,
Hudson.
yeah,
Johnson.
Johnson, thank
Oh.
you. And Commissioner Overman, you're recognized. Got twisted up on the list of people here, sorry.
Thank you. I noticed in the document that the actual document is not coming up. Is there a issue associated with the links? Or has there been a change since the agenda was approved? Maybe I'm just having technical difficulties here, but when I try to bring up the resolution, it's just not coming up. I tried both places.
And is your microphone on, Commissioner Overman?
Yeah, it's just far away.
No.
Okay, well, I'm assuming the document has been changed since it wasn't published. I just noticed it will not come up. It won't come up, so.
Can staff confirm that the document is the same as what we've received ahead of time? Is that?
It is, yeah, there have been no changes since the Strategic Planning and External Relations Committee when it was presented. I mean, I apologize, the Finance and Audit Committee when it was presented. There have been no changes since then.
Excellent, thank you. That's all I needed, is confirmation. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we've got a motion to approve by Commissioner Kemp, second by Director Johnson. We'll have a vote.
Director Castor,
Yes.
Director Johnson,
Yes.
Director Knight,
Yes.
Director Myers,
Yes.
Director Overman,
Yes.
Director Schisler,
Yes.
Chair Smith,
Yes.
Director Williams,
Yes.
Director Frazier,
Yes.
Director Kemp,
Yes.
Director Vieira.
Yes.
The motion passes unanimously. Thank you.
Thank you. And that takes us to the appointment to the Metropolitan Planning Organization Citizens Advisory Committee. The MPO CAC is a really stellar group of citizens advising our MPO on planning transportation in our community. And this appointment is an opportunity for us to add a representative who can provide input from a transit perspective. We have had some terrific candidates apply for this position on the MPO CAC, and I just want to thank everyone who did apply. It will be a hard choice this morning. We appreciate your support of HART and transit service in Hillsborough County, and appreciate your willingness to volunteer your time to represent the mission of HART on this important advisory committee. The board members will select one candidate from the list of applicants today, and all the applications are included in your packets. And so at this time, I will turn the proceedings over to Julia Mandel, our HART General Counsel, to guide the board through this appointment process. Ms. Mandel.
Good morning again. As stated, we'll go ahead and do this as a roll call, voice choice. You'll make your choice, and it will be tallied by staff through going through the voice vote until we can get to a candidate upon which we have at least a consensus, or we have a majority of the board to go ahead and make that appointment. So I will ask staff to go ahead and do through a roll call action to call names and ask for the selection.
Director Castor,
I am not going to, can I get a pass on this? I'm looking for the list. I had my my choice, but I want to see the list once again.
We can go ahead and come back to
Absolutely.
you, Mayor Castor, but we do need you to take an action.
Director Johnson,
I'm going to butcher this name. Ed. Does that work?
it does. Director Knight,
I need that list also. I'd like to pass.
Director Myers,
Casey Curry.
Director Overman,
None of this is easy because there are such excellent candidates, and Mr. Mazurchi, I can't say it either, so who I absolutely appreciate, has served us quite well. However, I think we've got possible strategic plans that are coming into place, so I'm going to suggest or vote for Josh Frank.
okay. Director Schisler,
Edward Merzjeski.
thank you. Chair Smith,
Dustin Lemke.
Director Williams,
Casey Curry.
Director Frazier,
Nicholas Glover,
Director Kemp,
This is truly very hard. I'm thinking we should have, as a process, actually, what we do on the board is make nominations, or could have maybe made nominations, but I'll go for Josh Franks.
I apologize. Director Kemp, what was your vote?
Josh Franks?
Yes, ma'am. Director Vieira?
A lot of great candidates here, and I share everybody's sentiments, but my vote goes to Nicholas Glover.
All right, so starting over again, Director Castor?
Nicholas Glover.
Thank you. Director Knight?
Remain neutral.
You really do need to make a selection so that we can take an action.
I'll go with Nicholas Glover.
Thank you, sir. Nicholas Glover appears to have the most votes with 4.
I would recommend that we, given that there are so many disparities between the different folks who got votes, is that we go ahead and take an action as to whether or not the board wants to appoint Nicholas Glover, and if that is not the case, we'll go to the second candidate. So we'll need a motion to approve Nicholas Glover.
Commissioner Kemp, so moved to approve Nicholas Glover.
Second, Vera, if I may.
And now, why don't we go ahead and take a vote on that action, and if that receives a majority, then we can go ahead and approve Nicholas Glover.
Director Castor?
Yes.
Director Johnson?
Yes.
Director Knight?
Yes.
Director Myers?
Yes.
Director Overman?
Yes.
Director Schisler?
Yes.
Chair Smith?
Yes.
Director Williams?
Yes.
Director Frazier?
Yes.
Director Kemp?
Yes.
Director Vieira?
Yes.
The motion passes unanimously. Thank you.
Yes, I think we've done very well, board members. As I said, I think it's clear from the votes and around in the first round that we had some excellent candidates, and I thank staff for communicating and advertising the position, and for all of us who helped to amplify that to get some good participation. And thanks again to everybody who applied. That takes us to a presentation on our bus replacement plan.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the board.
Good morning.
My name is Nicholas Goldborn. I'm the Technical Support Coordinator. Next slide, please. I'm here today to present for your consideration a short-term strategy to adopt a diversified fleet. This fleet will consist of 70% CNG buses, 15% electric buses, and 15% clean diesel buses. Due to our geographical location and our role in county's emergency evacuation plan, we believe we can best meet this goal by maintaining 15% of our fleet as diesel buses. This recommendation is based upon the current lack of charging infrastructure throughout the state. Next slide, please. Our replacement plan can be broken down in 3 phases. Phase 1 of our replacement strategy will replace 68 buses. These buses have currently met or exceeded their useful life, and they contribute the majority of our service interruptions. The second phase will replace 44 buses belonging to our clean diesel subfleet. These buses can be replaced with electric buses should there be a decision to do so at the end of the BB pilot project. The final phase will replace our current CNG fleet. In this phase, there are 69 buses to be replaced. Next slide, please. In looking at fleet electrification, we look at some of the best practices in the industry. We look at some of the best practices in the industry. An electrification project can be broken down in 3 phases: the planning and engagement phase, the funding campaign, and the equipment and infrastructure phase. In the planning and engagement phase, we will engage officials, key stakeholders, and the public. We will also conduct our service development planning throughout this phase. The funding campaign will entail us applying for grants. There are federal funding grants available via LOLO and also DARE grants. The final phase will be the equipment and the infrastructure phase. Infrastructure phase and funding campaign will determine the speed at which we can deploy an electrified fleet. Should there be enough funding, we can possibly deploy an electric fleet by 2035. Next slide, please. The table before you is a modified version of the fleet replacement plan presented by Mr. Drainville. We've modified the replacement plan to show the board a cost comparison for equipment for an electric bus and a CNG bus. The highlighted rows are the assets that have met or exceeded their useful life. In the first column on the left, model years 2006 through 2010 are the assets we've identified in the first phase of our replacement plan. We've ordered 16 of the 68 buses so far. Model years 2011 through 2014, those are our clean diesel subfleet, and at this point, we will be looking to implement electric vehicles should there be a decision to do so. Model years 2015 through 2019, those are our current CNG buses. And if there's a decision to electrify the fleet, these assets can also be replaced with electric buses. Next slide. This concludes my presentation. Does the board have any questions for me?
Yes, thank you very much. I think Commissioner Overman, I think you were, okay. Commissioner Kemp, you're recognized.
I just want to say I'm extraordinarily pleased. It seems that after 4.5 years of talking about just beginning to start our electric fleet, that we now have a plan to have an electric fleet by 2035. And I just think it is excellent. I'm very, very pleased. I think with the new infrastructure plan going forward and with Congresswoman Castor's commitment to this, we are going to be able to gear up and move into electric in a manner that I never really believed was possible. So, and as I understand it, the diesel fleet, I'd asked about this before, is just the existing diesel fleet we have now. So we're just wholly transitioning with this. And I can't believe after 4.5 years of really pushing for it, that it comes without, some kind of concerted effort. And I think that there's probably a lot of support on the board for this. And I'm very excited to see this moving forward as an aspiration. I think it's how we move into the future. And there's been a lot of major bus fleets across transit systems across the nation who already have a plan and have had a plan to go all electric, including Los Angeles, New York, and others. I think Broward County as well. So I'm really I know Ms. LeGrand worked with this, and Mr. Drainville, but I think it's bodes well for our future, for our clean air, for a really wonderful bus system. So with that, I will move approval.
Second.
Thank you. And Commissioner Kemp, I know this is exciting to you. It's exciting to me. When I was being briefed by staff on this item, I said, wait a minute, what, go back. Are you saying we can possibly dream of having electric buses by 2035, because you know, I know this organization has been pressing for that and wanting that, but unsure until now that it was even possible. And what with the large hurdles we have to overcome of charging stations, new infrastructure, settling on which kinds of electric buses, but the technology has been improving and becoming cheaper over time, and we have new leadership that shares our goals in that respect, and so I too am very happy, and I know Commissioner Kemp, you've been working on this for a long, long time, and so we have good news today and optimism for the future on that front. Any other, let's see, Mr. Councilman Schisler, you're recognized.
Yes, you know, in principle, I will support the program because it's where we want to move to, but I again caution everybody, we don't have essentially but $1 put aside for this, or revenue sources to cover it at this point. So while it's a worthy endeavor and something that we can all work towards, we got a heck of a hill to climb, and it's going to be very, very, very expensive to get this done. So we need to make sure that we stay focused and stay grounded as we move forward with this. We have a ton of other pressing issues. We have budgetary crises that we're facing. We have employees that we have to take care of, and no revenue source for the next several years to even address those issues. So I just caution everybody to, one step at a time. We have to take baby steps. I know we're doing that with the 4 buses, with the coordination with the federal funding sources for the matching, but we need to take it slow, take it easy, or we're going to create ourselves a heck of a mess. That's my only comment.
Thank
but
you.
I will support it.
And I was also, as I took a double take at this, these goals, I said, is this not counting the new transit tax, given that has gone down? And no, it's not. This is workable within our projected budget. So I'm feeling confident and optimistic. Commissioner Hoverman, you're recognized.
Thank you, Chair. I agree. It is exciting to see us move in this direction. I also do know that there's just a long timeline. I mean,
Yes,
the
ma'am.
good news is we're looking at, which we'll hear on the next agenda, legislative team members and working on getting clean energy as far as using bus and creating transit for our communities. And yes, I am too also concerned about it. Comparing the cost of managing the CNG and the diesel buses to the electric buses, I think is an important part of the process ongoing. And I'm sure that information has been considered under this. The initial cost is more than a regular bus, and it may take more than, one bus to serve the routes that we've had. So having a blended approach seems to make sense until the technology gets the expansion of the length of route, or until the infrastructure is built to support being able to have longer routes. Yes. But I think it is important that Hillsborough County moves into the 21st century and starts moving in this direction, and I'm very proud of the HART team for looking at ways that we can address this moving forward, and thank you very much.
Thank you, Commissioner. And Commissioner Kemp, is your hand still up, or did you have something to add?
No, I should take that down. Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you very much. There's no action needed on this today, but I appreciate your report.
Thank you.
And our next report is Ms. Lorena Hardwick with the legislative report. Lorena Hardwick is our Director of Government Relations, and she will give us the highlights of the legislative activities. Also calling in board members are the members of the HART Legislative Support Team of Holland and Knight, who are available to answer your questions as well. Ms. Hardwick, you're recognized.
Yes, thank you, Chair, and hello, board members. As Chair stated, Lorena Hardwick, Government Relations for HART. As of today, April 5th, those that are 18 and older can start receiving vaccinations. So the state has, moved very quickly on making sure that all of our adult population is can get vaccinated. This week, the House and Senate will be voting on their budgets, probably going into conference in the next few weeks. HART has been supportive of various legislation, supportive of the electric vehicle charging stations grant program from Senator Brandes and Representative Toledo. We have also been working with the Florida Public Transportation Association, FPTA, and our transit partners across the state to ensure that at least 20%, so that's about $33.6 million of the VW settlement dollars, can go towards transit so that we can replace the aging diesel fleets. And some of those dollars can also be used as matching. We're requesting that they can be used as matches for federal grant programs. So that could be something that we're monitoring and that we're working on. On the federal side, as you saw on March 31st, President Joe Biden introduced the American Jobs Plan, which is a $2 trillion infrastructure plan to modernize our country's infrastructure system. Out of that, just a couple of numbers here, $85 billion to modernize existing transit, and invest about $174 billion into the electric vehicle market. And as Chairwoman said, we do have our legislative teams from both the federal and the state side. Lisa Barkovic leads our federal side, and Kim Case leads the state. They're here to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you very much. I see no hands raised. No. Director Johnson.
Thank you. Quick question for you, Lorena. Did we move forward on submitting any kind of plans for community projects? That's been a new thing that I know has been, that our congressional delegation members have been working on, and I was just kind of curious as to whether or not we considered or if we actually submitted. I know the deadlines are different for each particular office, but I'd be kind of interested to see what our thoughts were on that.
Yes, so deadlines are fast approaching, and we are working on doing community projects for the shelter program. As you all know, the bus shelter program for HART is in drastic need of just actually creating the program and upgrading our shelters. So we will be looking at our congressional offices and delegations to assist us, and that will be the community project request.
Follow up.
Yes, please.
And thank you for that. I do want to, especially after the president's infrastructure plan was announced. Obviously, we are very, very early in that as far as getting additional details. But I do want to, I guess, try and find a way, and maybe this is something we figure out a way to bring to the External Relations and Strategic Planning Committee as far as some other ideas or some other thoughts about how we can try and find ways to maximize our relationships, especially with Congresswoman Castor and some of our friends here in the area, to be able to make sure we're going to be in a good position to influence that in as good a way as possible. So I'll obviously leave that to you and Ms. LeGrand on how to be able to do that, but I think it would be very advantageous for us. There's going to be a lot of dollars coming down, and I don't want to be sitting and not doing anything on that. So that's all I've got on that, Madam Chair. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any response to those ideas or the comments about the federal? Just checking to see, before I recognize you, Commissioner Overman, if the legislative staff had any response. Go ahead, Commissioner Overman.
Thank you. I want to compliment Director Johnson. I have been very interested. I got it. Sorry about that. I've been very interested in making sure that we had a robust strategic plan that could take advantage of a redirection or a focus on transit investment, not only at the state but also at the federal level. And it is exciting to see that there's going to be opportunity to help us expand an infrastructure that's desperately needed in this area. So I was actually going to recommend that the Strategic Planning and Legislative Committee bring to the agenda a robust discussion of HART's strategic plan, to really fully develop that idea, to fully develop our strategic plan as an organization, and bring it back to the board for support so that we're in alignment with being able to very aggressively go after the transportation infrastructure dollars that are out there, not only for infrastructure, but also because we're moving towards electric vehicles and supporting the clean energy efforts of not only our local but also federal, partners. So I was going to make that as a future item, but I think in light of this conversation, I think it's important that we do that as soon as possible, especially as we go the potential of going back to voters to talk about investments in transit, possibly in 22 or in the future, that we have a plan to really present to our citizens to help them understand the value of investing in this infrastructure in such a good way. So thank you. Lorena, can you share with me, are there individuals either at the state or the federal level that the board could advocate on behalf of any projects that we have in the queue? Is there any value in making those phone calls?
Yeah, I think so, and then I'll allow Lisa to, chime in here a little bit, but as soon as, we're able to submit and, we have the submissions, I think it would be a fantastic opportunity for our board members to, check in and have those conversations with those in the congressional offices, but I'll let Lisa speak to it a little bit more.
Thank you.
Yep. Good morning, board. We would absolutely love to have your support on this. It is a competitive process. Members of Congress are limited to only making 10 project requests across the board within the annual appropriations process. And so once we submit our request to not only Congresswoman Castor, but we're also submitting to Congressman Bilirakis and Congressman Franklin, where you have those relationships, being able to go back and to advocate for the project would be extremely helpful, because once they get their projects in, just because they can have 10 requests doesn't mean all 10 requests will get funded. And so we need to ensure throughout the whole entire appropriations process that they're hearing from, folks like the board or constituents in favor of this project request. And then they turn around and then they advocate to the committee and asking the committee to please keep this project in mind for funding.
May I follow up?
Yes, Commissioner Overman.
Great, thank you. So I would like to ask our legislative team to provide us with a short list of high priority phone calls or emails to be able to reach out and advocate on behalf of HART's missions and needs.
And so I see staff taking notes. I see a lot of head nodding. Ms. LeGrand or Ms. Hardwick, do you think, is there anything here that needs a motion, or you see this as the outcome of, the next steps?
It would be the process. It would be the next step. Yes, ma'am.
That's what I thought. Thank you. And I have Commissioner Kemp has her hand raised.
Thank you. And this is just very exciting, the times that we're poised in, and I feel like we are in a great position as chair of the Strategic Planning and External Relations Committee. We already have underway and will be working on moving forward with our new executive director, Ms. LeGrand, our new CEO, to move forward and bring forward, I think, we're finally in a position to do this. The first time I've seen that in my 4.5 years on HART. And I'm very excited that we're going to move this forward. And I know that Congresswoman Castor is very focused on HART as a beneficiary of some type of member award. I know that she has been very interested and spoken to me for years as well about CSX, as well as other, just the electrification of our fleet and all that. So I see great opportunities here as we move forward for support, help, and for a really robust, great plan to get us to the transit system that we should have been for decades now. So I think it's an exciting time, and I don't think we need to particularly need a motion to move forward to really begin to look at this. I was trying to give Ms. LeGrand at least a little bit to evaluate where we were now, but I think we need to really move forward with that committee looking aggressively at that, and it's a great time for us at HART.
Ms. LeGrand, I see your hand raised. You're recognized.
Yes, thank you, and good morning, everyone. Just a couple of things. Thank you, Director Johnson, for engaging this discussion. Just wanted to share a response to some of your statements. We have been fortunate to engage with Congresswoman Castor and her team. Lorena and I and some staff actually met with her last week and talked about our community projects. We had a very robust discussion. We settled on the Shelters for the Community ask because of the dollar amount. We felt confident that we would be able to, if we were awarded, to have a significant impact throughout the county on replacing bus shelters, those that have reached their useful life, as well as adding bus shelters in locations where we don't have shelters, as well as replacing some of our locations where they're not ADA compliant. We have around over 600 of our locations are not ADA compliant, so this money would also allow us to make those locations compliant. So, in talking with the team internally and with the Congresswoman's staff, we felt that not only would we put shelters in, but we would upgrade those shelters to look at ways to bring technology to the shelters. So that includes having solar panels so that they can have light in the evening times and at night when it's dark in the corridors, to also help with security measures, providing real-time information with the panel displays. We've seen these at the airports and other places where there's a lot of transportation use, so that our passengers can get to a shelter and see what the next bus is going to be, possibly touch the screen and see how long it will take. So again, not just the typical shelter that we're seeing outside today, but really using technology and clean energy to also power those locations and provide not only shelter from the environment, but also security through the lighting and possibly cameras there. So those are the elements that we're talking about in those shelter locations. Linda Crescentini and her team has a very robust presentation with every one of our shelters identified currently, our state of good repair associated with those shelters, or the useful lifespan of those shelters, and then what we can do as far as the footprint in those locations, what size shelter. So that's all a part of our plan. And then for you, Commissioner Overman, the conversation about the strategic plan, here again is something that we have kicked off, I would say, for over 60 days. Lorena as well as Justin Willett have been co-leading that activity of developing our strategic plan. Thus far, they've done some background analysis and looked at our existing conditions to understand, the level of service that we're currently providing, also understanding the demographics and the trends that are projected for the county over the next several years. And we're using that baseline information to help us to develop a longer vision for our strategic plan. So you can say that we're doing the due diligence work right now. Collecting the data is nothing sexy, but it gives us a great baseline to understand where we are. And then we'll be able to present to you moving forward what our conditions are, what the trends are, what the demand will be, and where we think we need to apply or provide additional service, and then how we modify the service in areas where we see some changes. So I just wanted to respond to those two comments. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And Director Johnson, thank you for your patience. You're
Perfect.
recognized.
And thank you for the update. I appreciate that. I know we had a conversation about ADA compliance completely separate to this. So the fact that we're actually looking at, maybe combining some of the things that you and I had discussed, I'm very happy with it. And especially with, some of the dollar amount. I mean, as many community projects that there's going to be, there's not going to be a very big amount of money for each particular project. So I think that's based off of what you're telling me, it sounds like we're moving in the right direction on that. So I'm pretty happy about that. I did have a quick follow-up question for Ms. Barkovic. You had mentioned that we had, we had discussions with 3 of the congressional members, and you didn't mention Congressman Buchanan. I didn't know whether or not we were just we're trying to get a meeting with him to be able to talk with him, or are we reaching out to everybody, or was it just you just didn't get that far down on the list? I know you got a lot going on.
Just didn't get that far down the list. We are reaching out to the whole entire Hillsborough County delegation. On the House side right now, because we've only heard from the U.S. House of Representatives with regards to what their process is for making such requests. So yeah, we are trying to submit to all of our delegations so that we can be the most competitive in this newly returned process.
That's perfect. I just want to, especially with all the growth going down in that particular portion of the county, I think it would be great for us to be able to reach out to him. So I'm glad that we're moving in that direction as well. So thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. And I see no further board discussion or questions. And thank you very much to our legislative team here and virtually. And we'll move to the next item is Mr. John Edmondson's Department of Procurement, and he'll give us an update on where we are there. Mr. Edmondson, good morning.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the board. I'm here to report today on sole source awards and deviations from the procurement manual for the month of February 2021. We had no deviations from the requirements of the manual to report, so that's always a good thing. And we did have one sole source award to report out on to Innovative Cloud Solutions for $83,974. HART currently uses Microsoft Great Plains as its financial system of record, and Microsoft sells annual user licenses for their products through value-added resellers. Those value-added resellers combine those annual licenses with technical and maintenance support services. Innovative Cloud Solutions is the current vendor that HART uses to renew that annual Great Plains license, as well as maintain that level of service support. This sole source award is needed to renew that annual agreement and support maintenance agreement. Barring any questions, that's all I have for today.
I see no questions, no comment. Ms. LeGrand, I think your hand was left over from before. So thank you very much for that report.
Thank you, ma'am.
And now, whether you have your hand up or not, Ms. LeGrand, it's your turn. Good morning.
Thank you. Good morning again. I'm happy to be here this morning. I can say that I have reached my 90-day anniversary, so now I can run with scissors. So thank you again for this opportunity to serve in this capacity. What I thought I would do today very briefly is to just give a quick overview of the last 90 days. Next slide. So you may recall that when I was here, when I started in my first month, when I started in my first month, trying to fix my screen here. 1 second, please. Okay. I talked about a 12-month plan and really focusing on 3 major activities. One was to communicate, and that's really listening and learning to the community, with the community internally and externally for the first 90 days. The next phase was to really use that information to help and start to renew the organization by taking the input from the external and internal teams and really finding opportunities to strengthen where we are already strong and then also adding additional resources to supplement us where we're weak. And at the end of the 12-month period is really creating this new vision for HART, which includes this strategic plan that we talked about a little while ago. Next slide, please. So over the last 90 days, when I started in the month of January, I really started talking internally to the bargaining and non-bargaining employees and really gaining an understanding as the new player, the new person on the block, what are some of the issues, what are the things that make people excited about coming to work, and where are the opportunities for us to do things a little bit different. And what I learned is that on the bargaining side, there were conversations about equity and discipline, compensation, and work-life balance. But then on the non-bargaining side, pretty much heard the same thing, but using different words, right? So equity in the culture, policy implementation, and succession planning. So again, similarities, different words, but definitely a need for people to feel like they are being heard, that the organization understands what they need to be successful, and that we're here to develop a plan to ensure that people have the appropriate balance of being able to come to work and perform, but also to do things outside of work that are also important to them. Next slide, please. The next month, I talked a lot with external partners. Those would be like the MPO, the city, different organizations throughout the community. And what I heard in talking to them was that funding for investments in transportation, funding for safety, funding for infrastructure, just really having a conversation and recognizing that funding is limited for everyone, from the Housing Authority, from THEA, every group I've spoken to, they all say the same thing, right? Funding is limited. And what that means is that we have to figure out ways to work together, to prioritize what's important for the community, and find opportunities where we can partner in the corridors that we need to invest in. So that means, not having a silo approach, really sitting at the table, not just one meeting, but several engagements to really be a part of the way we move forward. I would say, for the next slide, engaging with the community, external partners in the community, citizens, our customers who are using the system now, as well as those who, maybe one day will choose to ride it. What I've heard here are so many different things. I've heard from disinvestment in communities that traditionally depended on transit, and they feel that the level of service that they receive today is not consistent with what they had in the past. I've heard that, there's concerns about gentrification and people being pushed out. I've heard on several occasions that people are moving out to Riverview and Waimama, areas where, one person told me he never thought he would see the change of demographics in those locations that he's currently seen, and that it's because people cannot really afford to live where they were living before. And how can transit support them, recognizing that we have limited funds? So again, it's kind of consistent from what the internal and external customers are talking about. Different words, but the same connotation. Limited funding, needing to have equity, making sure that everyone's voices are heard, and that we're not just listening and not finding solutions, but listening and working together collectively to find solutions. Again, that means sitting at the table. If the Housing Authority is going to build a development further out and transit is not at the table, we can't ensure that we'll have transit there when that new development opens. So those are some of the partnerships and approaches that we must implement to not only support internal customers, our employees, but also our external customers and our community to make sure that we provide the best service possible. So with that said, that ended my first 90 days. And it was a lot. I can tell you that staff knows that my calendar has been overwhelming. Sometimes people just find me in the hallway and I have to stop and talk. I can give you a real life example. Last night I was in the office and I left and I came back in because I forgot something, and then I saw a supervisor was coming down the hall, and it was probably like around 9 o'clock, and he was like, "Oh, I'm so happy I saw you. I was about to send you a note." So 15 minutes later, we were chatting about something else. But that's the nature of the game, and I'm excited to be here to hear these conversations. So what I'm planning to do now for the next 90 days up until the next 6 months is to use this information that I've heard to really start to renew the organization. We heard from the public comment that, the staff wants to be supportive, and I recognize that. I also understand that a honeymoon doesn't last forever. I've been married for 25 years. I know how long a honeymoon lasts. So that being said, you know, I have a lot to do, and I have a lot of people who are looking up to me and expecting me to do a lot for them. And that means that I can't do it alone. So what I have done is employed the help of APTA, the American Public Transit Association, to provide some additional assistance for me to help us understand really the best way to move the organization forward. So APTA is going to come and do a peer review virtually for the next 60 days. And what they're going to look at are 3 department areas or functional areas to really help us to understand how we identify opportunities to make improvements, build a strong team, and attract the right types of resources to come to the organization. They're going to look at our finance department, they're going to look at operations, and they're going to look at culture. And culture is kind of broad, so I'm going to specify a little bit there. They're going to look at really how do we engage with each other. Are there disparities between the way the bargaining and non-bargaining groups are working together? Do we have policies and procedures in place that are consistent regardless of what classification you're in? And then how do people feel? Do they feel like their voices are heard? Do they feel like they're seen in the organization? And if not, what are the things that we can do to make these improvements? So after it's kicked off their process, we got them under contract, I would say 2 weeks ago. We had a kickoff conversation last week, and we have a great group of people working with us. I would say it's upwards of 10 executives from several different transit agencies across the United States, from the West Coast, the East Coast, the South, and it's a very diverse group of folks working collectively with us to help us with these conversations to just really move us in the right direction. And I think it's important to get a third party to come in, someone who's not close to the organization, someone who can look at things with a discerning eye, and again, help us to move forward. After that 6-month period, what we'll hear when I come back here, hopefully between now and the end of June, July, is a new organizational structure, one that's reflective of the input from the APTA peer review. I know that this is a difficult time, not only for all of us in the community learning that the sales tax dollars are not going to be available, but it's also a difficult time for staff, and I recognize that. I'm a new leader. There's change afoot. The new organizational structure is not going to be in place for a couple of months. So there's some angst, and it's understandable that people are concerned about, what does my fate look like? What is the future going to hold? But I just want to assure everyone on the board that, our intentions are to move forward in the most respectful way to ensure that we're doing the right thing for the organization and for the community. We're not making any hasty decisions, and this is why it's taking longer. It's my preference to do things correctly and take the time to do it than to just quickly make decisions and then you find out that you made the wrong decision. And again, that is why I'm very happy that APTA has agreed to help us and move forward. After the 6-month period, once we have our team in place and we're moving forward with our new organizational structure, that's when we'll really be moving full throttle into finalizing our strategic plan. And the purpose of that is to ensure that between now and I would say September, October time period, we have a clear understanding of what our priorities are. The board has given us clear direction of where you want us to focus, and then we can start the next legislative session with, our hats on, knowing, okay, these are the things that we're advocating for. We know we have the board support. We also know we have the community support, because during this period of time, we will be engaging with the community to make sure that they are a part of the process and they also sign off on, what we are saying are our priorities. So I look I look forward with very eager eyes that we are going to be in the right place by the end of the year, this calendar year. And if we are going to go forward with the next referendum, I'm very confident that we, as well as the community, will have a clear understanding of where we want to spend our dollars, why we want to spend it there, and how it's going to benefit the community. So with that, I want to thank you again for this opportunity to serve you in the community and look forward to another 90 days.
Thank you, Ms. LeGrand. Commissioner Overman, you're recognized.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, Ms. LeGrand, and thank you to all the HART employees. The next 9 months, in my opinion, will make all the difference, and having this board be part of this process and truly understand the gift and the pleasure we have of having Ms. LeGrand as our Chief Executive Officer, I think is critically important. At this point, given that we have a true opportunity to address the growth needs of Hillsborough County and how we best serve it with transit, sometimes starting anew is a really good thing. It gives you an opportunity to start with a clean slate, and recognizing that the slate needs attention. And I want to thank you for the diligence that you've exhibited so far in working with the employees, working with the bargaining groups, and working with the public. I think it's really important recognizing that we reach out to the public and help them understand why there's value investing in transit, whether they ride it or not, and why it's critically important to our overall economy. And the words you speak, are embedded with that. And APTA does bring a lot to the table. For those of you that have gone to the APTA conferences, there are great tools at APTA. Even for us board members, they have lobby tools and good data on those individuals that are in our legislature that are interested and capable of assisting us in moving our agenda forward. So I want to somehow figure out how to get back to that piece of tool. But in learning about it, it really helped me understand the economic impact of investing in transit. For example, that tool, we could look at how many employers in Hillsborough County are able to provide jobs to support the underlying services that transit needs to deliver transit. And talk with our legislators about the number of jobs that are created as a consequence of investing in our infrastructure. When we are armed with those tools, we as board members are able to actually help our CEO do the best outcome or create the best outcome. So I just wanted to say thank you, Ms. LeGrand, for the work that you're doing, and thank the board for making a great choice. 90 days has been great, and I'm looking forward to the next 9 months as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And Director Williams, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just want to echo your sentiments, Commissioner Overman. I mean, listening to the plan, and more importantly, what Ms. LeGrand talked about when she initially got the job, and she laid out a plan for us, and today in 90 days, we hear that she has taken action. And all too often, we don't recognize that people say what they do and they do what they say. So I thought it would be even more profound to raise my hand and contribute to the accolades that you've given to Ms. LeGrand, because it is worth being noted. And while she communicated it very eloquently, it is not easy. And so understanding the challenges that have taken place, she has recognized that she cannot do it alone, and she has to have the people that are around her, and as well as the board, and then more importantly, the community with the employees. So I just want to take another opportunity to say thank you. It's apparent. And the one word I wrote down about you when you came in and you interviewed was your transparency. And you continue to deliver on your transparency. And that's important for people to understand, first and foremost, if they can trust HART, trust the leadership, trust the board, the employees as well. And then the other aspect is, what do we do next and how do we invest? And coming in with the facts is very important and critical, but it also appeals to the emotional side and the commitment that's being made to everyone. So thank you for that, and I recognize your good work. I appreciate it. Thank you, Madam.
Well said. Well said. And Commissioner Kemp, you're next.
Thank you. I just wanted to say I am so excited for the future, and I want to speak. A lot's been said about the transparency. The leadership, Ms. LeGrand, is great. I think it's really just, gives me such confidence to know that you brought in the team of APTA. And I feel like that is so good to bring in all this expertise around the country to really help us move forward in the best way possible. And I think HART's been again, I've been on the board 4.5 years, and for 4.5 years, worried about the direction that HART was moving in. And I have to tell you, it's a flood of relief to know that we are bringing in this team and that we are in such good hands. And I look forward to moving forward in a really robust way. And I see that in a couple of years that we could have the confidence as well of the community here. We've already had it once in their support for our sales tax moving forward and investment in transit, but I feel like it will be even greater, knowing that we have the leadership in place that we have now and the plans and aspirations and what we're doing with our opportunities and our investment that we have so far. So I just think it all bodes well. Thanks for sharing all that with us. And I think we're all going to be watching and participating as much as possible to post-COVID here. Really, I just feel like HART has such a great future. So thanks, and we're all with you.
Thank you, Commissioner Kemp. Mayor Castor, you are next.
I just want to congratulate Ms. LeGrand on her first 90 days and also thank you for underscoring the fact that we made the right decision in the leader of HART. Organizational change, you and I have had these conversations, is the most difficult thing you'll ever do, and I appreciate the fact that you are moving methodically and intentionally. It may not be as fast as some individuals want to see, but do it right the first time, and you don't have to make any changes from that point forward. I also want to thank Letitia Jones for her leadership. I know it's been a difficult time at HART, and I want to thank her and applaud her for working with the administration to make HART a great organization that can serve our community to the best of its ability. So thank you, Ms. LeGrand, for working to put that foundation in place so that when we do get the funding to move HART forward and make it the transit organization we all know it can be. Thank you for that. And I know it's not easy work, and I know you've been at it too many hours a day, but it is recognized and appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you. Director Knight, you're recognized.
Again, and thank you, Chair. I just want to express the same sentiment as some of my other board members. Appreciate all you're doing. Congratulations on your 90 days. And often I get hit with some of the people you meet out in the community, leaders and community people, and they all have great things to say about you. And I'm very confident that as you meet more, that great things going to happen, and they really get an opportunity to see the real you, and that you really have a passion for this organization. And I wish you well, and like all of us, we'll be there for you. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Knight. And seeing no other hands, I think Commissioner Kemp is left over from before. I will just wrap up with my own excitement and share that excitement that everyone has, that we have this sense that we are in good hands, and that as you are moving methodically, you are also on fire, and you are addressing a wide range of people, our customers, as well as our workers. And I think in your first 90 days, you've learned our community is on fire for transportation, in that we are all passionate out in the community as well as here in HART. And so there is angst about what's coming, but at the same time, a lot of it is just excitement and hope. And I think you give us good reason to hope with your steady leadership and bringing in the objective, professional piece to advise you and us as we move forward. The only thing that really I just agree with everything all the board members have said. The only other thing I would add is it's going to be important, as you mentioned, as our county is growing so fast in certain areas, and Director Johnson alluded to this as well, we need to be putting transportation infrastructure and transit where the growth is occurring, but we also need to be directing growth where the transit is planned for. And that there's two sides to that. Instead of just catching up with infrastructure wherever the growth bubbles up, we have to take our responsibility, speaking mostly as a county commissioner now, but working together with HART to plan for where we're going to put transit in the next 20 years and put growth there and direct growth there, and have people understand that where we're not planning transit, that's not going to be happening. So we need to all be working together on that transit-oriented development piece of the planning. So thank you very much. I see no other hands in your first 90 days, a very happy honeymoon still. My report is next, and I don't have one, so moving swimmingly along to the General Counsel's report. Ms. Mandel.
I don't have anything to report today from the General Counsel's office, except to also congratulate Ms. LeGrand. It's been an absolute pleasure getting a chance to work with her. Thank you.
All right, and then we have a lot of other reports that are in your packets. That brings us to old business, and seeing none, any new business from board members? Mayor Castor.
Yeah, just very quickly, I would like to, when we were talking about the Community Advisory Board for the MPO, far be it from me to make a meeting any longer, but I really feel like when we do nominate those, I only knew one of the individuals on the list and clearly review the applications, but I would appreciate a little more of a discussion, and I know that Commissioner Kemp talked about a nomination of someone and then some broader discussion to get the board's input on the individuals. I think that's important. Any board nomination that we make is very important, and I don't know if that's to Ms. Mandel or that's the chair's pleasure, but I think we should do a little more of a deliberate process in that.
And certainly, I use the process that had been previously used, but I think a nomination process moving forward would be appropriate. The other thing, I know it's harder in the time of COVID, but I know in other types of choosing of members to be representative of board, you typically do have an opportunity for an interview process, or at least invite those folks to come to board meetings for them to give comments. So that might be something we want to consider utilizing in the future.
Okay.
Thank you,
Chair. Thank you.
Point well taken, because especially in this case, I think we had so many really stellar applicants that possibly some board discussion might have helped. I think in some ways we couldn't go wrong, but in other ways, your point is well taken, and we'll take that under advisement for the next time. And Commissioner Overman, new business.
Thank you. In light of what Director Castor's comments were, a majority of the boards that I sit on either have a lot of individual representations or have a Citizens Advisory Committee. For example, we're appointing from HART, a person who advocates on behalf of HART to the MPO, right? But do we, as a board, does the organization of HART have its own Citizens Advisory Committee? Is there a reason? Because, we do spend a lot of energy reaching out to the public, and Hillsborough County is a big county. And I applaud that, don't get me wrong. But is there a reason to consider in the future establishing a Citizens Advisory Committee? We have a significant number of people in normal, non-COVID days that show up at our board meetings to speak on behalf of their concerns, that want to talk to the board. And one of the structures that I've seen in other organizations is a CAC. So I'd love to have that conversation about whether or not it would be appropriate and what would be involved and how we would go about establishing one if the board feels it's the right course of action.
Thank you, Commissioner Overman. I think that's something that maybe the staff we can put on the agenda for a future item, and the staff can advise the board of some ideas of how that might be structured, along with our general counsel about what kinds of representation we might put, whether there would be certain seats for certain groups or communities. And I personally, I'm on the MPO, I moved that we would start hearing from the MPO Citizens Advisory Committee on every meeting. We get a report from that advisory committee on our agenda items and things we're taking up. They review our agenda and advise us from their various perspectives on that. And I think it can be a valuable tool, especially in our community where we have really informed citizens who are willing to do that work. I myself have sat on various citizens advisory boards, and they have been a very wide range of citizens who were willing to do the work and inform themselves or not. But in transit, I think at this time in our community, it could be very beneficial. Ms. LeGrand, thoughts on that?
Yes, thank you for the question and the opportunity to respond. So we have started working on putting such a committee together. Today in the audience, we have our Chief Customer Experience Officer, Terry Wright, here, and Terry is leading that effort. We were, playing with the name, so we were calling it the Riders Advisory Committee, the RAC. And, Terry, is it appropriate to have her say a word or two? Ms. Wright, if you don't mind sharing with the board what you are working on with this committee. You can come to the mic.
Good morning, Ms. Wright.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you. I came from New Orleans, and I hosted the Riders Advisory Committee in New Orleans. So my very first meeting here was my first day of employment, February 1. And that week, I met with several staff to talk about how we could stand up something very similar. It's important to understand what the community needs, and their voice has to be heard. And it's a committee that's set up specifically, for them to communicate their ideas. It is a set agenda, and we go through specific topics. We set yearly goals, and we work towards their goals with their input. And we're in the process of putting that together. I'm working with Lena on that, and we hope to have something stood up early summer.
Great. Then, no rush. Use your process, and we look forward to hearing what comes out of that. Thank you very much. I'm excited to see what that next step will be. Commissioner Kemp had her hand raised, I think, to this point.
Yes, I just wanted to say it's great. I actually been in discussions with Ms. LeGrand about this, and she had told me about the RAC in New Orleans. I thought that was a great name. And I was wondering about, and I think having riders be that advisory committee is a very good thing. And I was going back and forth a little bit about other whether it should just be riders. I just wondered about, kind of the committee, but I think we have needed it forever. It's kind of funny that, we saw in the all four transportation effort when we did that oversight board, that there is just massive interest in being part of that. I think because there's just massive interest in the part of the community here in Hillsborough County to get engaged and be supportive of HART and be part of our transit system in some kind of way. So I think it's an important and exciting move. I think it will be something that will be that community members will really, really want to be part of. And I think it's important that we move. I didn't know that we would be moving on it so quickly. But that's, again, another thing that I think is just will be great and important for Hillsborough County. And so I'm really happy to see us moving forward on it.
All right, and if there are no other new business, no other comments or input from the board members, we can adjourn the meeting and wish everybody a good afternoon.